Hi piano friends, it's the holiday season, so you know what that means. This is the time of year for you to be learning and practicing all of those fun Christmas songs you want to be able to play at Christmas parties and gatherings with your friends and family around this time of year. So, in this video, we are going to look at a fun classic Christmas song, Deck the Halls. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can play this fun classic song at a beginner level, an intermediate level, and an advanced level. So whatever level you're at as a piano player, you can plug into it. Okay, let's get going. First, let me introduce myself really fast. If you don't know me, my name is Matt Hodge, and for the last 15 years, I've been a music professor and a professional piano player and a private piano coach. And I love helping people on their piano journey, no matter their age or experience level. Now, I have a couple of things that'll help you with this video. First off, the link to download the lead sheet that we're going to be playing off of for this video, I'm going to give it to you totally for free. So you'll see that linked in the video description below, this Deck the Halls lead sheet. And you'll also see a link to my free PDF called The Ultimate Intro Guide to Piano. It's a free 35-page PDF that I've created just for you all, my YouTube audience, and it gives tons of helpful information to help you on your piano journey. Stuff with chords, key signatures, scales, colorful charts, bunch of stuff. So it won't only just help you with this video, but it can help you with a bunch of piano stuff. So you definitely want to download those two things down below, totally free. Okay, first off, Deck the Halls, let's just look at the melody. All right, so here is the melody. All right, sorry about that, was a fun clunker note in there. So that's the melody. Now what's nice is you can tell it's very repetitive. So this whole song, that little line of da 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 da, you repeat that. You play that 3 times. So 3 out of the 4 lines of this song are the same melody. So that makes it easy to learn. You only have that 3rd line, the da 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 da. Da, da. That's the only part that's a little different. So at least the melody is very repetitious, which should make it easier to learn. Now, let's look at the basic chords before we dive into the different levels of how you can start to attack this song. Now, the first chord in the lead sheet, it's F. So F major. In a lead sheet, just FYI, whenever you see just the letter, so here you see just F, that implies the major chord. So F means F major. So that would be F-A-C. Now it says F again. So that just means you would play F for both measures, F-A-C. B flat major is B flat D F. And then we're back to F major, F-A-C. And then we have a C7 chord. So a C7 chord means a C major chord, which would be C, E, G, but then it has a 7. Now, in a lead sheet, if you ever just see a 7, that implies a flat 7. So for a C7 chord, that would be B flat. Now again, if you're not sure of notes of chords, that free PDF guide that I have for you down below, my Ultimate Intro Guide to Piano, I go through all the notes of all the chords. So it can really help you with that. So C7 is C, E, G, B flat. And that's all the chords. The only other chords you have are at the end of the 3rd line. You have D minor, which is D, F, A, and you have G7. So this is another 7 chord. So a G7 would be a G major chord, G, B, D, and then that flat 7 on top, which for this would be F, G, B, D, F. That's all the chords. So you don't have that many chords to learn for this song, which also makes it nice to play. Now, for a beginner level, you can just play the melody in your right hand and just the basic chords in your left hand. So if you did it that way, it would be like this. Yeah. Now, one thing to point out, notice how, and this is where when we play from lead sheets, you can start to get a little creative with how you marry a melody note with a chord. Look, for example, when we have the C7 at the end of both the first and second line, and the first and second line, we have C7 while the melody is going F, E, F. So if it were me, what I would do is, notice how in the left hand, a C7 chord was C, E, G, B flat. But F is gonna have a little tension with E, because E and F are like right next to each other. So if I were you, I would take away the E. We don't always have to play the full chord in our left hand. We can imply chords. We can take some notes away sometimes. So I would take away the E, so it sounds more like this. Can you hear how that's a little clearer? There's not as much tension versus, there's a little more tension in that. If I take away that E in the left hand, that helps a lot. On that G7 chord at the end of the third line, that one is a little, that's a little better. I'd be fine playing the full chord for that, G, B, D, F. Because that doesn't seem to, the sound of it doesn't conflict as much because the melody note's a little higher. So beginner level, you can just play the melody note in the right hand and in the left hand, the basic chord. That's totally fine and sounds great. Also make sure that even as a beginner, we're still practicing our pedal. So it's important to pedal because pedal's our best friend. It helps us make songs sound more beautiful. It helps chord changes sound smoother. So the goal is you want to push your pedal down for each chord. So not every note, but for each chord. And then when the chord changes, then you switch. So for example, the first two measures, that can be pedaled. And then each of those chords you can unpedal. Now, if a chord is lasting multiple measures, like for example, the first two measures are an F chord, if one chord is lasting that long, then it's fine to repedal again. So maybe you could repedal when you see the second F just to make it a little cleaner. But listen when we don't push the pedal down, what happens? It gets a little choppier. It gets a little more space in between. Now it's kind of a style choice. If you like that sound, great. But I prefer to have a bit more of a smoother sound. So up to you, but this is a great chance to also practice your pedaling. Now, at the intermediate level, here's what we're going to do. Your right hand is going to stay the same. Your right hand is going to play that one note melody. Your left hand, we are going to take the chord and we're going to do two different things with it. First off, we're going to turn it into what I call an open chord. If you've seen other videos on my channel, you know I'm a big fan of this. Professional piano players, we use this all the time. What the concept is, for all of the basic major and minor chords that you play, you take away the middle note and then you put the bottom note on top again. So if you know anything about chords, major and minor chords, these 3-note chords, in theory we call them a 1-3-5. So what we're turning them into as an open chord is a 1-5-8. Now if those numbers don't mean anything to you, that's totally fine. But just know for all the chords, you take away the middle note, put the bottom note on top again. So an F for F major instead of FAC, we would play FCF. It gives it this open sound. For B flat major, for B flat D F, instead you would take away the D and turn it into B flat F B flat. Now for the 7 chord, what we'll do is because we already have an interesting top note, that 7th note, we'll keep that. So we just want to take away the middle note, which would be the E. So our open chord would be C, G, B flat, which you were already kind of doing anyways, because in the beginner level, if you remember, I told you to take away the E from the C7 anyway, so it didn't conflict with that melody note. So C, G, B flat. Let's see, other chords, when you have D minor would go from D, F, A to D, A, D. And G7, again, because it's a 7 chord, we'll keep the 7 as the top note, so we'll just take away the B. Now, you can first play the song just that way, where you just have open chords and all 3 notes of the open chord are played at the same time. Something like that, yeah? So notice how I was playing a little bit around with what octave do I want something in, right? I can play an F up here, I can play it up here, down here. It just depends on what you like. Now, a next thing you can try with it to take that up a notch as an intermediate level is now let's give it a little bit of a rhythm, a little bit of a bounce, because this song is kind of upbeat, right? So instead of having 1, 5, 8 like this, where all 3 notes are together at the same time, let's push it down here. Instead, you'll have the bottom note and then bounce up to the top 2 notes. So. Yeah, or you could even go, if you're filling out a whole measure. Or you could bounce back and forth. It's up to you, but you can experiment with having a bounce between the bottom note of the chord and the top 2 notes. Now, when the chord changes are faster, so for example, when you have, you could do something like, you have enough time to do 1 bounce for each chord. So that B flat, and then the F, and the C7, back to the F. So if you experiment with rhythm and having a bounce between the bottom note and the top note, you could have something like this. Yeah? So that's a fun way to try it at an intermediate level. Now, if you want to go more to advanced, here's what you can try. Keep the left hand doing what you were doing, so having that bounce between the bottom note and the top 2 notes in a different rhythm, how you like it. Then in the right hand, we want to add notes under the melody. So the right hand, we should always, if you want to sound more advanced, you want to always try to add more notes in the right hand. The right hand can also play chords. We have this stereotype in piano that the right hand is just melody and the left hand is just chords. But the more advanced we want the sound to be, the more we break that rule. So now we've seen the left hand maybe isn't playing all the notes of a chord, right? When we played that 7 chord, I took away a note. Why? Because it might be in the right hand. We can insinuate something. Now in the right hand, we're going to break the stereotype of it can only play 1 note melody. But you always want the melody note on top if you're playing multiple notes in the right hand. Why? Because the audience will always hear the high note, the top note you're playing, as the melody note. So you always want your melody note on top and then add notes underneath it. So how do you know what notes to add? One level of advance is just adding notes from the chord. So for example, if my chord at the beginning is an F major chord, well, my melody note is C, so what are other notes from F major I could add under that in my right hand? I could add A, I could add F. Now you don't have to add notes underneath every single melody note. So you don't have to go, you don't have to do that, but it's nice to throw it in as much as you can, especially when there's a new chord change or like the downbeat of each measure, the beginning of each measure. But experiment with it. There's not a right or wrong way to do it. It's just how could you add notes? You can have just 1 note. Now, another thing to try is, if you want to go a bit more advanced, is what if you added notes that were in the chord and extra special notes. So again, my free PDF download below, I have a whole section where I show you what we call added notes, where you take the chord and then you add cool special notes. So for example, with major chords, I love to add what we call a 2, the added 2. So in the F major chord, an added 2 note would be a G. Now again, if you have no idea what that means, I explained it all and show it to you in that PDF below. If it's a minor chord, you can add a 7. There's so many different ways to experiment with this. So when you're ready to try an advanced level, experiment with having the melody note, adding notes underneath the melody that come from the chord, And can you add notes sprinkled in that aren't in the chord, but they sound nice? They give it what I call a shimmer. It's like added beautiful notes it's like icing on the cake for the chord. Can you try that while also having rhythm? So if you try something like that, it could be. And another level of advance you can try is having the melody in your right hand in octaves, but you're filling in notes in between the octaves with those chords, notes from the chords, the special added notes, so that your right hand is really kind of having a lot of power. This is great, especially if you're wanting the song to sound sort of big, if it's a big sing-along, or you want it to have a lot of energy. So if you do that, it could sound like something like this. Yeah, and you can even experiment with some of the chords. You don't have to play the exact same chords on this lead sheet. We can fiddle it around. Like when I just went through there at letter B, instead of playing it as C major, I played it with a B flat major. You can experiment. The more you want to try to advance on piano, the more you should experiment and come up with stuff, because there's not a right and wrong way to do it. It's about using creativity, critical thinking, and finding freedom from the sheet music. Okay, so let me know in the comment section, how did you do with this? All right, what level did you try to plug in at? And what's some of your favorite Christmas songs you like to play, okay? Let me know. I love chatting with you all in the comments. I read every comment. I try to reply to every comment. So chat with me below. Let me know how you did. Also remember to download this lead sheet, so totally for free, and my PDF guide, Ultimate Intro Guide to Piano, for free. Both are linked in the video description below. Also, you'll see another link down there, the link to my website, matthodgemusic.com, where on that website, you can get information of the different ways you can study piano with me if you would like. Every week, I do several virtual one-on-one piano lessons with people from my YouTube community, and I love it. It's so much fun to connect with you all and help you crush your piano goals, no matter your age or experience level. So you can get information about taking a virtual piano lesson with me at the website. You can take one lesson, you can take multiple lessons, and you'll also see information on my website about my course. It's called Basic to Beautiful. It's a self-guided online virtual course where I show you how to go from the very basics of piano playing all the way through intermediate level and a little more advanced level of how do you go from the beginning of piano feeling like a beginner to beautiful, confident artistry at the piano. How can you read lead sheets? How can you find freedom with improvisation and songwriting and chord building and all the fun stuff? So at my website, you can get information on that, on my piano course and piano lessons with me. So my website is linked in the video description below. You can also click the big join button below if you would like to join the channel as a member. Totally optional, but members get access to monthly exclusive content like several members videos where I break down popular songs, I give downloadable lead sheets, I show how to play the songs at different levels. We have a lot of fun over there at the members level, and every penny goes to helping to support the channel. So if you'd like more information about that, you can just click the join button below to see information about that. Do all that fun YouTube stuff too. If you enjoyed this video and got value out of it, I'd really appreciate you clicking like, subscribe, all that great stuff, and let's keep this YouTube piano party going. Now I want you to click on the video showing up on your screen where I show you even more cool stuff to do at the piano. I'll see you over there, my friends, and until next time, keep making music.